Hello, and welcome to Women Over 40 Losing Weight. I'm Dr. Kisha Pickford, a nurse practitioner and holistic nutrition weight loss coach. And this podcast is for women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond who are tired of dieting, tired of starting over, and ready for a more sustainable approach to weight loss that actually works with their bodies. And once again, I'm with my co host, Coach Jay, our resident physical movement specialist, and the man that keeps me on track and on task. How are you today, Jay?
Well, hello, and thank you for that warm welcome. I'm doing great, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm excited for another fantastic conversation, and I'm ready to dive in.
Okay, I am too. We're in the first full stretch of the new year, and this is usually when motivation is still pretty high. But it's also when a lot of women start quietly feeling frustrated, they're discouraged, or even confused about why things already feel hard. In our last episode, we talked about motivation and why motivation isn't the real problem when it comes to weight loss after 40. And we revealed that women really needed systems to be successful in this new year start. We gave a few examples of those systems, and today I want to continue that conversation because while motivation may get you started in January, it's usually gone by February, and by spring, sometimes it's not existent at all. A lot of women feel like they have failed again.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why we're diving into this part two, because it's so common that once that initial motivation starts to fade, people think they've done something wrong, but really it's just about having those systems in place. So today we're going to share a client story and talk a bit more about how you can make these systems work for you so that you're not relying on motivation and you can really keep going all year long.
Yes, today we're going to talk about our client Angela. We're going to call her Angela, and we're going to share her story. And this is something, Angela is our example today, but something I see over and over again, not only with clients, but with just people I generally come into contact with. I worked with Angela last year, and she started her health journey strong. January was great. She was motivated. She was disciplined. She came in doing the thing, and she was doing all the right things. But by the middle of the following month, things started to change. And I was like, hey, what's going on, Angela? And she just communicated, she was tired, she was frustrated, her progress, she felt like it was slowing, and mentally, she just didn't want to keep going. She said to me, I don't understand. I wanted this. I wanted this so badly. I was so motivated. And that's when I knew motivation wasn't the issue. Even though she said it, I was like, Angela, motivation is not going to carry you all the way. We need to change and correct course here and do things a little bit different for you.
Exactly, and that's such a common turning point. It's that moment where you realize that motivation got you started, but it's the systems that are gonna keep you going. So we really shifted Angela's approach, and we're gonna share how that made all the difference for her and how it can for everyone else too.
Yes, she was relying on motivation to fuel her entire health journey. And, motivation is great. I mean, it can definitely jumpstart and get you going, but it's so emotional when it comes to motivation. It fades when life gets busy, and her life had definitely gotten busy, especially at work. She had taken on a new role and she had gotten many more tasks and things to do at work, and her stress level increased. And when stress increases, sleep sometimes goes away, and her sleep definitely had gone to a minimum. And when your sleep suffers, your stress is on high, and you're after 40 or over 40, all of those things matter more. And what Angela didn't have, or what she was not doing, was putting the systems into place with her newly acquired role or lifestyle. And without those systems that we were discussing and putting into her health journey, her motivation, it burnt out quick. And not having the systems as a foundation or backup, it really played a part in her not wanting to progress or keep going.
Absolutely, and that's such a common scenario, right? When life is busier and you rely on motivation alone, it's just not gonna hold up. So once we put those systems in place for Angela, she has something to lean on that wasn't just that fleeting feeling of motivation, and that's really what made the difference. So it's a good reminder for everyone that having those systems can really keep you on track no matter what's going on.
Yes, and we're not just talking, and this is not just something anecdotal. Research supports this. Studies published through different organizations like the National Institutes of Health have shown that behavior-based routines and habit systems are far more predictable of long term weight maintenance than motivation or willpower alone. In other words, people who focus on consistent behaviors, not intensity, are more likely to sustain weight loss beyond the first few months. And after 40, your body needs predictability. It needs a system. It needs stable meals, muscle protection, stress regulation, sleep support, because motivation, it doesn't provide all of that. The systems you put into place do.
Absolutely. And that's such a crucial point to highlight. It's really about those consistent behaviors and routines. The research shows that when you have those in place, it just sets you up for long term success. So it's not about pushing harder or being more motivated. It's about having that stable system that your body can rely on, especially after 40. So it's all about those systems over just pure motivation.
Yes, and once we broke down or really got into the thick of things with Angela and found what her new role was, and kind of correlated it with her lifestyle at home, we began to simplify everything. Instead of chasing her big goals, we focused on small, repeatable habits that could easily go into her lifestyle and things that she could do on automatic, not a full overhaul anymore. And it wasn't about perfection, it was just something she could do even on her worst day, her worst stressful day. And this is what I want the listeners to take away as well. Things or small, repeatable habits that are easy to do on automatic. Nothing big, nothing grandiose, just a small, repeatable habit or system.
Absolutely. And that's such an important takeaway. It's really those small, repeatable habits that make all the difference. You don't need to overhaul everything or strive for perfection. It's about finding those little things that fit into your life and repeating them until they become natural. And that really is the heart of making it sustainable. So that's a perfect message for everyone to take away.
Yes. And just choosing, we're going to give an example, just choosing one small habit and just repeat it daily for the next 7 to 14 days. And then once you have it, move on to another and add that on, and you keep compounding until you get a natural or normal routine that's on automatic. And it could be something simple as making sure you eat protein for your first meal of the day, drinking a full glass of water before you have your coffee, and then taking a 10-minute walk after meals or after dinner. Something as simple as that. When something becomes simple and automatic, motivation is no longer required because you have that base, that foundation system set and ready to go.
Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. Just layering those simple habits one at a time. And so they become second nature. So once you have that foundation, like you said, you don't have to rely on motivation. It's just part of your routine. So it's a really powerful way to make sure that everything becomes sustainable and that you feel confident moving forward.
Yes, this is the heart of the Fresh Start approach. This actually goes with our letter E teachings for elevating those habits. And just to remind our listeners, Fresh Start is based on a framework developed by me for our holistic weight loss program. And it's a 5-part system designed to help you lose or maintain your weight on or off weight loss medications such as Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound, or any of the compounded versions of those medicines. In our program or our teachings, while working with us, you learn how to not use motivation. And we're not asking, motivation to do all the work. We're building systems with you that work even when motivation fades. And that's how women over 40 stop starting over year after year, season after season, month after month, or week after week for some of us.
Absolutely. That's exactly what the fresh start approach is all about. It's about giving you those tools and that framework so that you don't have to start over again and again. And it's really about making it work for you long term. So you have that stability, you have that consistency, and you're not relying on motivation. And that's how you keep from having to hit that reset button every single time.
Yeah. And for Angela, once the pressure was off and systems were in place, consistency returned. Not because she felt more motivated, but because her plan finally fit her life. And here's the part that I love. Once that pressure was off, her weight loss, it became sustainable as well. And she didn't have the pressure to feel rushed, those extremes. She just began to have steady, realistic, and maintainable weight loss and weight success.
Absolutely. And that's really the best part of the transformation. Once the pressure's off and those systems are in place, it just becomes a steady, realistic journey that actually fits into your life. And that's how you get that sustainable weight loss. So it's a perfect example of how it's not about pushing harder, it's just about having the right plan that fits you.
Yeah, if you're listening and you're thinking, hey, that sounds like me. Or if your motivation is already fading, nothing is wrong with you, I want you to hear this clearly. That's normal, that's human. And after 40, sometimes it's expected. What matters is what you put in place after motivation wears off. The right systems to support you today and for life is what is required at this age and stage of life.
Absolutely. And that's such an important message. It's completely normal for motivation to fade. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you when it does. It's really about having those right systems in place that can carry you through long after that initial wave of motivation is gone. So that's what we want everyone to take away. And that's how you set yourself up for success.
Yes, it is. Well, let's wrap this episode for today. And I want to thank you or everyone for listening and spending time with us today. I hope this conversation helped you to feel seen, encouraged, and heard. I also hope it reminds you that sustainable weight loss after 40 is possible. New episodes of Women Over 40 Losing Weight are released every Friday. So be sure to follow the show so that you never miss an episode. And if today's conversation resonated with you, you can learn more about our work and find my book, which is an easy to read resource entitled The Wait is Over at amplehealthandwellness.com. Well, until next time, please give yourself grace, take care of your health, and keep moving forward.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're so glad to have you with us. Remember, it's all about those systems and giving yourself that grace. We'll see you next time. Take care and keep going strong.
Yes, take care and bye for now. See you next time.
Bye for now. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.